Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, so subscribe and hit the bell icon. So, are you a sex repulsed asexual, or are you someone who just gets fed up of having sex in like nearly every movie, right? So, if you're that type of person that loves no sex movie reviews, I have a movie right now for you that has no sex in it whatsoever. And stay tuned. So I'm going to be discussing migration. And if this is a movie you haven't seen yet and you want to see it, please do not watch this video because I'm going to spoil it for you. But if you love spoilers and want to know more, stay tuned. So Migration is a really, really good movie. I really enjoyed the film Migration. It's an animation and it's about a set of ducks. And the ducks are very stuck in their way, particularly the father duck. So it's like a father, mother, and two kid ducks, right? And the father duck, he's really stuck in his ways. He doesn't want to go outside the pond where he's there, where he is with his kids. And there's a flock of birds, and they are going to Jamaica, and they basically ask, are you going to come with us? And they're like, no, we're not going to go, because the father duck is like really stuck in his ways and he wants the safety of his children to be preserved. But the fact is, he's caging his own children up with his wife. If you think about it, it's like, I say wife, it's a Mr. and Mrs. Duck, right? It's basically like husband and wife with kids. So anyway, the Mrs. Duck persuades the daddy duck to actually leave that pond and migrate to Jamaica, because she feels restricted where she is, and she feels like he's just trapping the children, even though he's protective of the children. And there's like an uncle involved as well. This uncle duck decides to go with them, or rather one of the kids persuades the uncle to go. There's some funny moments where this kid duck, it has these eyes that like look so cute, and the face that looks so forlorn, because they want the uncle to go with them. And it's like, please, please. And it's got this little cute face with these big baggy saggy eyes going, please. And anyway, the uncle gives in and goes with them. So they're meant to be migrating to this really nice country, but instead they get lost. I think it's in New York City, and they end up running into these, I think it's like storks or something. Like, I don't exactly know, I can't remember what type of bird they are. I think it's storks. It's some sort of bird, birds that would usually eat them. And so they end up going to this like crazy stork's house, and they're quite old. Well, there's two storks, and one of them is quite old. And anyway, they think, the daddy and mummy duck think that they're going to get eaten with the kids. And because one of these storks puts them in a frying pan and says it's a bed, and they think they're going to eat them. And so they have to try and escape from that situation. It's quite funny. I did really enjoy the movie. I thought it was good there was no sex in it. I thought it was a really funny movie in parts. And obviously, I do love a type of story where it challenges the norm, it challenges the status quo. It makes you get out of your comfort zone. I'm a person that personally pushes myself out of my comfort zone in real life, which isn't easy to do, by the way. I have an anxiety condition. But I was saying in an interview about asexuality recently to Dr. Leica, which hasn't come out yet, I've only just been recording it with him, that, one of the best ways to live a fantastic life is pushing through your fears and boundaries and achieving things you never thought possible. I might not have said it in these words, but this is where I was driving it. And also, I said if I didn't have anxiety, I don't think I push myself as much to do things. I think I push myself more to do things and get out of my comfort zone and achieve more because of my anxiety. Because, I find it more challenging. I think if I didn't have anxiety, I'd just probably be going along in life, not thinking very much, you know what I mean? And just like strolling along in life. But because I've got anxiety, it makes me want to challenge myself more, to push through my fears and barriers to change. And so essentially where I'm going with this is the Mr. Duck particularly is like this. He's scared to go out into the world. He's fearful. He's anxious. He wants the safety and comfort of his pond with his basically like wife duck, if you like, and kids. And he doesn't want, he doesn't want them to come to harm. So he has got their best interests at heart in the sense he loves them and doesn't want them to come to harm. But he realizes that, it's too caged in. So they all go, they try to migrate to Jamaica, get lost in New York City. Then, they, like I said, they run into these storks, which they think is going to eat them, but they escape that. They do escape that because I told you there's spoilers, but they end up in this kitchen place where they potentially are going to be actually eaten. And there's this guy who's like a gangster guy, and he's trying to make them into like a soup and other things, right? And they escape, but this guy comes after them and finds them on this farm that is supposed to be like a sacred space for, like healing space. And instead, the people that are running this farm, they're meant to be like healers, are actually in working in partnership with a guy who's like this thug hooligan type of person who wants to cook them and eat them. So there is some scary moments like that in there, if you know what I mean. And one of the children ducks, one of the kid ducks, it gets its wings like damaged, so it can't fly anymore. The mummy and daddy get separated from the babies, and it's like quite like emotional in that way. And you're like, oh my god, how are the babies going to get back to their parents when one of them's had its wings kind of clipped, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of weird. It's a good film. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend going to watch it. Shall I tell you the ending? Shall I tell you? Do mummy and daddy and baby ducks get back together or not? Maybe you'll have to wait and see. But it is a really good movie. I love the duck characters. I love the fact they get the father duck out of the comfort zone. It's a mummy that's very forthright and very invigorated and loves the challenge. And there's some beautiful moments I forgot to tell you where they're dancing. The ducks are dancing. The mummy duck and the daddy duck, husband and wife, if you like, they were dancing together. And so his wife, like duck, if you like, brings out the playful side in the daddy duck, because the daddy duck has been very stuck in his mental state thinking, I can't go out and get out of my comfort zone. And he does. He has to try it and do things in order to save his children, because they've gone astray in New York City instead of going originally to Jamaica like they were supposed to be. They've done detours and they got lost. And so the daddy duck has to kind of do various things that he wouldn't usually do in order to save his wife duck, if you like, and two children. I say wife duck because it's like they're married ducks, but you know what I mean? They don't actually say wife duck in the movie. And so yeah, there's these really good moments where the mummy and daddy duck, the husband and wife duck, if you like, they are dancing together with wings out. And it's like the wife's given him a new lease of life, because instead of like just staying in the pond, he listened to her. And even though it's been difficult and challenging with the kids and trying to keep them safe and alive, he actually feels alive more than ever, because he's got out of his comfort zone, because he's listened to his wife and he's listened to the kids that want to go, and he's part of an adventure, and he's challenged himself to be bigger and greater than he ever thought he'd be, and to get through his fears and boundaries and accomplish loads of stuff. And when they do this dancing, it's like he comes alive with his wife, and his wife duck is like, wow, this is how it should be, because she's got a very adventurous spirit. I really loved the mother duck. Very, very strong female character in this, very, very strong. Got a huge sense of adventure. It was the daddy duck that was scared, and I kind of like that juxtaposition. I kind of like that they fact that in an animation, instead of making the woman female, like kind of scared and needing to lean on the guy and need his support and can't do much for herself, damsel in distress, it was kind of like the opposite way a bit. It was more like the daddy duck, the guy duck, he had all these fears and insecurities, and he was so scared to leave his pond. But it was a mummy duck, the wife duck, if you like, that was saying, come on, let's go. I just think it's like she's trying to say it's like suppressive and repressive being here. It's holding us back. Want an adventure, and she's very reassuring, and she's very, very strong. And so it's kind of a very, they've taken the stereotypes of male and female and kind of turned that on its head, so that the female is the strong character, the female is the strong lead. And she leads him to victory, basically, and leads him to do things beyond his wildest dreams that he never thought possible, because, until that time, he was very kind of restrictive and scared. But he has to get out of his comfort zone in order to save his wife duck and family, if you know what I mean. So it was a really amazing film. I really loved it. I love the adventure they go on. I love the characters. I love the ducks themselves. I kind of quite liked the scenes where you thought they might be being eaten. I don't mean that in a weird way, you know, like I'm not a sadomasochist or anything like that. I don't believe in pain and stuff like that. I don't want to see the ducks hurt, but there's quite a lot of tension in the scenes between these kind of storks. I think they're storks and the ducks, and you don't know if the storks are going to eat them or what they're going to do, because they've got the kind of like, you know, they kind of a bit like one of the storks has got a bit kind of an evilness about them, you know, and it's like, oh, what am I going to do? Am I going to eat you? Am I going to play with you? Am I going to save your life? You know, it's kind of really weird. There's kind of some mind stuff going on there. It's a mind deaf thing, I think, but you know what I mean. So, but it's quite good the way they've done it, and so I did like that. I liked it. In fact, it's quite colourful in parts as well. And like I said, I love the dancing. I love when they bring out the best in the ducks, and it's like, wow, you know, it's like it's like very romantic and very like, you know, like they come to life. It's like when you know when like some relationships they get stale after a while, and it's like they've been together a long time, and it's like they get too old because they forget that their childhood, they forget their youth, they forget doing stuff that makes them feel playful. So, you know, when they go on this adventure, it's like they've got a new lease of life, and it's almost like the wife duck's got her husband duck back, and they're living this youthful life where they're having an adventure and they're dancing with each other and they're just going with the flow and loving each other and having a beautiful romantic time, which is what it should be the majority of time in a relationship, right? It should be the fact that, you know, you are still having fun and being playful with each other years later, no matter how long you've been together or married. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, they're not technically married because they're Mr. and Mrs. Duck, but you know what I mean? They've been together basically forever with the kids, as far as I can make out. So anyway, I really love the movie. Definitely go and give it a watch if you haven't already. I got to see it on Kids Club for £2.75 instead of £7.99 or £8.99 if you book online. Right? It was on another cinema at full price. Right? So if you have a kids movie showing near where you live, make sure you see if you can go, even if you don't have a kid. I don't have a child. It's just me paying £2.75 to go and see the movie, which is a kid's price. But you don't have to have a kid to go to the kids club to see the movie. There's also showing on a big screen, or just showed on a big screen. It's the same screens. When I say big screen, it's for adults, you know, it's the same screen. They're on the same screens, whether they're for kids or for adults. But it's just a difference in price, that's all. And one's meant to be aimed more towards kids, so it's usually kids and their parents. But you don't have to have a kid to go, and you can be like the kid. So it's amazing. Make sure you find out from your local cinema if that is the case, and you can go to the kids club yourself as an adult and pay kids price, basically. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this movie review. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe already if you haven't. Don't forget to subscribe already if you haven't. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm getting my words mixed up today because I'm quite excited about migration. Go and check it out. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't already done so you never miss an episode. And join in the fun. Lots of love to you. Take care. Bye.